All right. Welcome, men, all our ambassadors of hope. We're proud of you, glad for you sticking through this to become better men in every way in your life. And I know you've been waiting for this masterclass since watching the interview. And without any further ado, I just want to bring back and welcome Kevin and Celine. How are you guys doing?
We're fired up.
We are. We're ready.
I am not going to get in the way. Take it away. Go for it.
All right. So this masterclass is called Bring Your A Game to the Bedroom. And if you listen to our interview, we started to touch on some of the points that we're going to expand on here in this masterclass. And what we want you to do is not only do we want you to get better in the bedroom, but we want you to see how getting better in the bedroom is going to translate to being better at life. Everything that you do in life is going to get better. And so we're going to go over how to do that. We're going to go over some of the common mistakes that men make. We're going to go over what women actually really want from you. And then we're going to deliver a practice that you can do, that you can take home today and start doing right away, that can help you harness that energy and translate it into your lovemaking and the rest of your life.
All right. So I want to start with some of the mistakes. And because if you don't know what's happening, what's you doing wrong, then you can't change it. Awareness is key, as always. And I think that as a first place is to be aware that there's probably more to it than you know. And the biggest mistake that I do see people is that they don't know what they don't know. They've got their education from porn, most likely, if they're from America, or from Locker's Talk or whatever, but like they just got a few glimpses, pieced a few things together, and like, well, this is it. This is, that's how you do this. Just like insert this here and results. And unless you've been on a quest to discover something deeper, then you might be good at what you do, but you may not know that there's something more. And so that's the first hurdle, is to accept that you may not know it all, actually.
Yeah. And, we see times where clients come in and they say, well, I've been doing this ever since I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in their 40s or 50s, which means they've been doing the same thing over and over and over again in their sex life for decades without ever realizing or deciding to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it is because they don't know that there is more.
Mm-hmm. Now, another mistake, and we talked about this earlier in our interview, but we want to make sure that we bring this one home, is to always focus on the end goal, aka the ejaculation, or also her orgasm. So it's for men who, once they have sex, they say that if I'm aroused, if I have an erection, if there's any sexual activity, it needs to lead to an ejaculation. Some men also think if there's sexual activity, there should be an orgasm on her part too. So not only do they put pressure on themselves, but they also put pressure on their partner. And we'll talk more about how this is hindering their ability to have better quality sex and deep intimacy with the women by pressuring her to orgasm every time they have sex.
And the thing is, with a woman, guys, you should have figured this out by now, right? Like, they call women like water for a reason, right? Because they're always flowing and changing and moving. They're never static. They're never the same. And when it comes to lovemaking, you can't expect to have the same type of lovemaking and the same result every single time you make love. And that's the thing, is a lot of guys get in their heads, okay, so here's how it's going to be. We're going to do this little bit of foreplay. We're going to do this for this amount of time. She's going to have an orgasm, then I'm going to ejaculate, and boom. That might happen sometimes, but a lot of the time it's different. Today, she just wants soft, gentle lovemaking where you penetrate her and you barely move. And then maybe tomorrow, she wants you to literally split her open and pound her. You don't know which one it's going to be.
She doesn't either, probably.
Yeah. And she probably doesn't know until the moment either. And if it wasn't confusing enough, she will likely change what she wants in the middle of lovemaking. So all of that to say is that if you're focusing from the beginning that it's got to be a certain way and it's got to get to a certain place, you are setting yourself up for failure. What you need to do is be present and pay attention and see what is it she's wanting right now, And how can I give her that and be willing to adjust course in the middle? This happens with us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She'll say, oh, I'm just in the mood for, just gentle lovemaking. I just, you don't even really need to move. Let's just be connected. And I'm like, okay. Even if I'm really in the mood, like, man, I just want to like go at it. I got tons of energy and I'm ready for pounding. She might be like, no, that's all I want. And so it's my job to recognize that, because she's not always going to tell me that exactly. Sometimes she just tells me that with her facial expressions, or I can literally feel it in her vagina. But it's my job to understand that, to sense it, to do my best to sort of go with that flow of water. And then a lot of times down the road, it changes. And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, give it to me hard.
Absolutely. And there's also times where you try a move. And this is a concept that we're going to talk again later, which is about go for connection, don't go for perfection. And sometimes it holds you back because you're like, I got to deliver it properly. I got to make it right. I got to be perfect per se. And sometimes you'll try something and you'll go faster or different angle. And I'll just be like, this is not working for me right now.
Well, and right now is the key phrase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you try something, guys, and she's not into it, it's not working for her, it doesn't mean that that's terrible, never do it again. Unless she like screams in pain and says it's terrible, don't ever do that again. But for the most part, it might just mean that that's just not what she wants in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, okay, boom, stop that, try something else. One of the things that we say a lot when teaching too is don't be afraid to fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You're not a mind reader, guys. Like, and even though sometimes it seems like women expect us to know everything, even though they haven't said a word to us, they understand, most of them, that we are not mind readers. And so if you try something, she's like, today that's just not doing it for me, or today it's uncomfortable, or whatever it is, just go, no problem. Let's try something else.
Mm-hmm. And I love that concept that you're bringing, because I want to give you the women's perspective here for you guys listening. Is a lot of women haven't taken the time to explore their bodies and know what they like, what they want. And so it's really hard for them to speak up and be an advocate for their pleasures, because they don't really even know what it looks like or feel like. Now, if you're lucky enough and you are in a relationship with a woman who knows what she wants and what she likes, then give it to her when she asks for things or says something. And there are subtle ways sometimes that we do things. We're not going to do a whole class today on communication and all the ways that she tries to make you understand things. And I'm not saying that that's the best way that women do it, but I've seen women leaving clues and little things like that. And so when it comes to the bedroom, like, don't take it personally. When she just says, oh, it hurts, she'll move on. She's just letting you know in that moment, this is not really good, and adjust. She won't hold it against you. She will if you keep doing it. If she said, oh, this doesn't feel good, or I'm not liking it, and you keep giving it to her, then she kind of want to scream at you and be like, are you listening to me? Are you paying attention? And there's another concept that I also want to bring, which is about the feminine, because we are even confusing to our own selves, okay? It's like, it's a wild ride to be a woman and go through these emotional roller coasters. And during the month, there's like different emotions. Heck, during the same day, there's different emotions. And sometimes we have no control over this energy that takes over us, and we're doing our best. So understand that we have this ability to connect with emotions very differently than you do. And sometimes it shows up as this gushing waterfall, and sometimes it's a little tricklet of like energy or water, little drops of water. Your responsibility as the man is to be the bank of the river. So it's simply to create a container for us women to experience all that we are, without any expectations that it should be the river, the gushing waterfall, or the little droplets, but that you love us independently of how it shows up. You're still the bank of the river. You are solid here for us. And if you can create that in the bedroom, it creates such a sense of safety for her that then she can open up.
That's a big responsibility
It
and
is.
something that shouldn't be taken lightly. But if you can do it, you start to become the master of your domain, right? If you can really be that bank and really hold that space, that literally is master level stuff.
Hmm. So let's talk about, I think we have a couple more mistakes here that we prepared here for you. I want to talk about this one, which is about not dealing with your sexual insecurities. And for you guys, it could show up as ED, so erections difficulties, erection dysfunctions. And again, these are like the terms, the medical terms, and oftentimes it has a lot to do with your what I call the wisdom of the penis, which is that your cock knows what's going on in the relationship, what's happening in your life. And maybe you're not really showing up fully in your relationship. And your cock is like, well, why should I show up fully? It knows, it feels that there's resentment, that maybe she has something that she wants to deal with, and it's not a right time to be making love. And it's to listen to that wisdom. And so whether the insecurity is having an issue like premature ejaculation, erection issues, or it could be sexual shame. It could also be like, I don't know, the size of your penis or your sexual skills. But if you don't want to deal with that because you don't want to appear weak and think that if you shove this under the rug, it's going to disappear, this is a big mistake because it's only going to stay right there for you, and it's going to get bigger and bigger until it becomes the only thing that you see in the bedroom. Now, is your woman the best person to process with your sexual insecurities and all of this? Probably not. Is there a way to do it together? Yes. Would it be better with maybe a third party or somebody else to help you with that? Probably. But dealing with it and being willing to acknowledge it is key.
Absolutely. The big mistake is thinking that you can get away with not dealing with it, because it's going to drain your energy
Mhm.
little by little over time. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. If you really want to bring your A game to the bedroom, if you really want to step up into that position of being a master, you've got to deal with those insecurities.
Mhm. Okay, let's talk about this last mistake that we have here. And by the way, I'm sure there are more, but I think these are the big ones. And we just wanted to give you pointers to look at, okay? It's about not paying attention to what she really wants and coming into the sex with your own agenda. Do you want to talk more about this, Kevin? Like give them like what it looks like?
Yeah, so we've already talked about this a little bit because we were just talking about paying attention to where she's at and what she wants in the moment. But that's only part of it. That's just like, okay, what kind of sex is she wanting in that moment? But the other thing is to pay attention to all the things. Pay attention to the expression on her face. That's going to tell you a ton. Pay attention to the words that she's telling you. Pay attention, if you can, if you've tuned into your woman, all the words that she's not actually saying to you, but yet is still saying to you non-verbally, right? What women really, really want is for you to be totally present in the moment. And this is another master level skill, the ability to be 100% present. You're not thinking about your job. You're not thinking about all the tasks around the house. You're not thinking about the bills that have to be paid, any of that stuff.
Or sexual fantasy or the possible threesome you could be having or how hot your
Exactly.
neighbor is.
Exactly. Those are all great examples too. You want to be focused and present in the moment with your woman, paying attention to everything that's happening in that moment itself.
Mhm. That's really beautiful here, Kevin. And it's a great segue into what women want. I want you to understand before we dive into what women want is for us women, it's a little bit easier to let go of an agenda because a lot of women don't experience orgasms through intercourse alone. And so we're pretty used to just having sex with no per se end result, right? Just because it feels good. And what's really important is to know you why. Why do you want to have sex? Not just be focused on like, well, it's because it gives us an orgasm, because ultimately down the road it's not going to be sustainable. When you've been in a relationship for multiple years and the honeymoon phase has gone, it's going to be much harder to like feel this desire. And if you only have sex when you feel that you're in the mood or because you want to have an orgasm, it's not going to be a motivation anymore enough. But if you have sex because it creates a deep connection, it helps you to relax, it creates a deeper bond where then you just feel more love towards your partner. It makes life easier, makes life more beautiful. So many different things. There's no right or wrong reasons there. I'm just giving you examples. If you focus on that, independently of being in the mood or going anywhere, if your focus is simply about the quality of the interaction, that's going to be much more exciting to do it. And that's really what we mean when we like don't have an agenda and pay attention to what she wants. What she truly wants is to connect deeply with you. She doesn't care if there's an orgasm most of the time.
And interestingly enough, the less she cares about an orgasm, the more likely she is to have one.
Absolutely. This is a great tip you're giving here. The more you're trying to go for that orgasm, the more elusive it becomes. So I want to talk about what we women want. Since today you have the two of us, you're going to get it straight from a woman's mouth. Now, I may not be the full representative of all the women out there. And so take what I'm going to be sharing with you with a grain of salt. Know that we are all beautiful, unique snowflakes. And that just because I said so doesn't mean that's what she also wants. But use the points that we are going to share with you as a starting point.
Yeah, just make sure that they understand it's not the modern definition of snowflake. It's the unique definition of snowflake.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of guys going over there. Who you calling snowflake?
All right. So here's the first thing. We don't want to be fixed. And I'm going to repeat that for all of you men listening. We don't want to be fixed by you. And this is a really tough lesson for you to learn, because I know that as a man, you want to make our life better. You want to fix it. This is just your wiring. This is how you go through life. When it comes to the bedroom, unless we specifically come to you with, I'm having this issue, help me solve this, we don't want to be fixed. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be witnessed. And we don't want you to fix us. Really, what it looks like is we want you to be present and not afraid of whatever emotions will come out of us. Like I said, we are powerful emotional creatures, and we even get surprised at all the emotions. When we make love, we get to tap into this magic place, and sometimes things get released. Anger that was trapped in the tissue, sadness, joy, any emotions really could be there. Have you ever made love to a woman and then she started crying? Right?
I have.
Yes.
Actually, it was one of our early experiences when we first got together.
Yes.
And you were in San Francisco, and I was visiting you there, and we had this beautiful lovemaking, and all of a sudden you just started crying,
Uh-huh.
just I mean, not even just like bawling, crying. And what was beautiful is I didn't take that personally in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea why. I mean, we were very early on in our relationship,
Yes.
so I didn't totally know what was going on. Did something get triggered? I didn't know, but all I did was I just held space for you and just held that container. I just continued to be the Banks,
Mm-hmm.
and it moved through and actually turned out to be one of the most beautiful lovemaking experiences we had in that early time.
Absolutely. And I know that afterwards we talked it over. And what I remember telling you was what was amazing is you gave me permission to cry. And you didn't say, "What's wrong, honey?" or, oh, stop crying, it's okay. You just let me be, and you kept loving me and making love to me and looking into my eyes. You weren't afraid. You didn't run and hide in the bathroom or stop talking. You kept making love to me, and I processed it. It moved through me, and I never had to like go through a therapy session to deal with this or anything like this, because it moved through.
Yeah, and this is a master skill because it's so hard for most men to do. Like, we are fixers, especially like, we said earlier in the interview that a lot of the clients that we work with, they tend to be CEO types and engineer types and, people like that. They're used to taking charge and fixing the situation. All right, there's a problem, I'm going to solve it. That's what they do all day long in their life. And then they take that into their relationship and it just wreaks havoc because it's absolutely not what she wants. So the master skill for you guys is, that's great. Like, somebody who's a problem solver, you probably do have a good title and you probably make a lot of money, because what people ultimately want in life is to have their problem solved. But when it comes to your relationship and your woman, that's not what she's looking for. She just wants you to listen and hold space for her. And she will ask you when she really wants you to solve something. She will ask you.
Mm-hmm. So now another thing that we want is for you to take charge and be confident. And this is a very, very interesting concept because there's so many fine lines in there. I'm going to talk about it from the idea that you're already in an established relationship where you've built trust and that you guys have clear communication and kind of have a solid foundation, okay? Taking charge has something to do with power dynamic, with her being able to fully let go. And for a strong woman, it's a very difficult thing to do. A lot of women those days are strong women. I was a very strong woman where I was like, I can do this. I don't need a man. If she hasn't yet come to the place of, I don't need a man, but I choose to have a man, then you guys are going to have to do some work there and a little bit more. But let's say she's at that place where she knows that she wants a man around, right? What she truly wants is she wants you to step it up and throw her sometimes on the bed and take charge of where you're going to have dinner tonight or what sexual positions you guys are going to do or which movie. It's not about being a dictator, but it's not about being a scared little like person of like, I don't know, honey, what do you want? I want to make you happy. Because trust me, she would much rather you be very confident and take charge and tell you no in your face, actually, I don't want that. She would much prefer that than you being a wussy and being like, I don't know. And then she has to step in and she has to take over. And this kills the passion and the polarity in the relationship instantly.
Yeah, and this is a great subject. This is one that we talk about a lot. It's actually one of my favorite subjects to talk about. It's polarity. We're not going to go super deep into polarity here because that could be a whole class in and of itself. But I just want to mention a couple of things, and one of them is exactly what you were just talking about, Celine, which is that in every relationship, there's a polarity. There's a masculine and a feminine polarity, right? And you can think of it in terms of magnets, right? We use the term polarity, right? Because magnets have a pole, a positive and a negative. And if you try to put two of the same ones together, what happens? They repel each other. If you put the two opposites, boom, they stick together. It's really the same thing. And what we notice in relationships when we're working with couples is that if the man doesn't fully step into being a strong, masculine, confident man, the woman will step up and take over. Mm-hmm. And you see this a lot too with single moms, right? Single moms, they don't have a man to help raise the kids. So single moms go, okay, if he's not here, I'm going to step it up. I'm going to do all the things that the man would normally do because I have no choice, because somebody's got to do it, right? And so if you're that sort of soft, kind of wishy-washy guy who's like, well, when she asks, where do you want to go to dinner? And you go, well, whatever you want, honey, If you do that all the time and that's the place you're at, she's going to step up and she's going to become that more masculinized version of herself, because she's going to say, you know what? I can't rely on him to make a decision. I can't trust him that he's got it handled because I can't get a solid answer out of him. I don't know that he's got it, Mm-hmm. And so what you'll find in these relationships often have what we call reverse polarity, where she's more in her masculine, he's a little bit more in the feminine. You'll find people say, well, what happens if he steps up his masculine? Then you're going to end up with this like clash, right? With you got two masculine energies.
Cockfighting.
Yeah, cockfighting and bumping into each other. Yes, that can happen. But more often than not, what we see is as soon as he steps up his game, right? He really brings his A game, she lets go. And she just relaxes back into her feminine. We've seen it so many times now. It's like, it seems to me to be the majority of times, because she's stepping up to fill a void because somebody has to do it. And that's just how women are. But ultimately what she really wants is she really wants to just be able to relax into her feminine. But she needs to know that there is a strong masculine there to handle that part before she's willing to let go and just relax into her feminine.
She wants you to help her release stress too. And the more stressed she becomes, the more masculine she is, the more get shit done mode. And ultimately, and I ask that of Kevin a lot when I see that about myself, and I'm like, just help me for a few seconds there. Like maybe like caress me, like, I don't know, like caress my hair or my body, or just be romantic for half a second. That it helps me reconnect with that and release the stress. Now, I'm going to be honest, like she can't expect you to always be there to help her, like do her emotional processing and reduce her stress and all this. There's some like self, accountability that needs to be put into place. But this is teamwork too, when you're together in a relationship. Where when I see Kevin is a little stressed out, or like this morning he was like having a hard time waking up from his deep sleep, so I just gave him a little blow job, just to like bring him back into the morning and get ready for this amazing interview that we're giving today. I was like, you got to bring your A game there, Kevin, so I'm going to help you with that, you see. So it's all about teamwork there.
Absolutely. And one of the things that works in our relationship, so we have a scheduled date night, right? And we've been together long enough now that people are like, why do you have a date night? And it's just so that we keep focus on making sure that we have dedicated time, because it's too easy to get caught up in the grind of life and then miss all that kind of stuff. So on our date nights, we only really have two rules. One is that we do something together where we're actually engaged. So we don't consider sitting there watching a movie being engaged with each other, because we're just sitting here staring at a screen, as opposed to really connecting and being present with each other. And the two is that at least some point in the evening, we'd be naked when we're doing that. So there's no expectation of sex at all, but it generally gets there eventually. The reason I bring that up is because sometimes when we come into that date night and she's really stressed because she's had a busy day and she's been doing all this technical stuff for the business end, we try to split that work as much as we can, but we both have to do it in order to make all the things happen that need to happen. And sometimes she's just not in the space at all. Like, you can feel it. So usually when that happens, I say, okay, lay down on your stomach. You're getting a massage.
So you're taking charge, you're confident, and you're touching my body to help me come back into my body.
It works every time.
Every single time.
Yeah.
This is huge, guys.
But the thing is I don't do it because I think that if I do this, she's finally going to be ready for sex.
Yes.
Maybe she is, maybe she's not. Sometimes it leads to sex and sometimes it doesn't. But the point is I realize in that moment that there's no way that we're going to really be able to connect deeply until you can de-stress a little bit. And so I'm doing that for no other reason than to just help you de-stress.
You're amazing.
Oh, why, thank you.
All right, let me tell you about a few more things that we want. I mean, the list would be really, really long. Let's be honest, but we only shortened it a little bit here. She also wants to be able to change her mind. And this is huge because, I mean, if you've been dating women for a long time, we change our mind all the time. And we want to be able to change our minds, meaning if we're yes to a particular sexual position or something, we want to be able to say no and you honoring that. Or if we were a no, we want to be able to be a yes then, and things like that. And that you don't hold that against us per se. I know for guys, it's hard to comprehend that because you're much more linear and much more like very concise and clear and go like, this is the path, this is it. And for us, sometimes in order to really know what we want, we have to dabble a little bit and be like, is this here that I want to go? Or is that here? And when she says something, she usually means it. If she has integrity and honesty, which we're going to assume she has, if she's a good woman and you're with her, she really means it in that moment. But the moment then can be gone and another moment shows up. And then she means that new thing in the moment. And she wants to be able to change her mind whenever that arises, to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and keep in mind that sometimes the river defines the bank, and sometimes the bank defines the river, right?
Mhm.
So when she's changing her mind, she might actually need you as a guy to say, how about we do this?
Mhm.
But then if she decides, no, that's not what I want, you as a guy have to be ready to go, okay. And then if she gives you an idea, you say, okay, let's do that. Or if she doesn't, you come up with another idea,
Mhm.
right?
This is good. This is good. Let me tell you about another one here. She wants to be pursued. And really here, this is an expression that we have. She basically wants to be a piece of meat. She wants you to look at her like you're a starving lion and you're ready to take a bite of her, of her. And I know I'm always laughing because we're vegetarian and we like talking about the piece of meat, but it's really that thing of like when Kevin looks at me with these eyes of like, I'm going to eat you. Oh yeah, game is on.
Oh, I'll eat that meat.
So think about that. Of course, you can't show up like this every single day of your life, but make sure that it is something that you bring to the table on a regular basis, that you can still look at her like that starving lion that's about to have it his own way, have its prey.
Yeah, and that's important because if a woman knows that you are still attracted to her, I mean, that's really what it is. She wants to know that you still have attraction, that you still want her. If she feels wanted, then she feels beautiful. She feels sexy. If she feels beautiful and sexy, then she's going to give that back to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because how many women are like, oh, well, I don't really want to have sex because I don't feel good, or I'm bloated, or my belly looks too big, or like, I don't know, I'm
My
not.
breasts are not the same
Yeah, like
anymore.
they have a lot of that stuff going on. So if you as a man can help them feel sexy and wanted and beautiful, they're going to drop all that stuff and they're going to be far more willing to engage with you.
Mm-hmm. She also wants intimacy and connection. So I know we're talking here about pure desire and the physicality. So she wants to be into that realm with you, but she also wants the other part, the intimacy and the connection, or maybe even the spirituality, like bridging the gap between sexuality and spirituality. And that might be the territory that's a little bit more foreign for you. Let her guide you in like connection. Let her show you how it works and be like, okay, honey, I'm open to connecting deeply with you. How could that work? What do you want to do? Or just look into each other's eyes, like create those moments where there's something more than just a physicality, but there's that's something else that you can touch and deeper. Let's be honest, I think every woman at some level wants to be fucked open. And what that truly means is that she wants to be fucked so masterfully that she lets go of everything, removes the protections that she's put on, the facade, all the things that are like that she's put around herself to be safe. But like basically is through your penis, she can open up so much that she touches something bigger, whatever you want to call it, creator, God, spirit. I know we're getting a little bit like woo woo again, but it is a very important element. It's like it's opening her up to something bigger of herself that she didn't know was even there.
Okay, yeah. So here's where we're going to get even more real with you guys now. Guys often come to me and they say, man, you're so lucky. How do you get a woman that gives you blowjobs all the time? Or you're so lucky. Like, how is it that she cooks all this amazing food, or she does all these things to support you? Like, you must be like super lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, look, if you want a woman to do all of that stuff for you and love doing it for you, there's a couple of things you have to do. And one of them is you have to fuck her properly. You just do. And when we get to the end of this, when we give you the practice, it's going to be practice that's going to help you do that. But you have to be masterful. You have to basically fuck her open.
Mm-hmm.
And she will, once you crack that shell and you literally fuck her open, she wants to give it back to you 1,000 times.
And she won't want anyone else. She'll be like, I've got the best and I'm going to give it all and my all. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that requires you to be a master of her body. And so you need to be able to explore her body, to know things, to play. She's not just tits, ass, and pussy. There's more to that, right? And know all the little zones, the things that make her tick. She wants to know that you're like a painter and that her body is a blank canvas for your masterpiece.
And all those zones are in our free gift that you'll get at the end.
Yes, absolutely. We have 11 erogenous zones to touch before you reach her pussy. So you'll get more inspiration in the guide. So make sure you read that. But she wants that from you. And honestly, she wants you to make love to her for hours. And that might not be exactly how she phrases it, because she might have had poor relationships or doesn't know what she doesn't know also. But once you show her that sex can be more than a 5-10 minutes thing and can be a 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever that is, she'll want that again.
Yeah. And, we mentioned in the interview, and a lot of you have probably seen this before, but when they were doing studies, and some of them do go back a few decades, about how long the average male lasts, one study said 3 to 5 minutes. The other study said 5 to 7 minutes. It's a pretty short time. But what we didn't talk about in that interview was the woman's side. I only mentioned how long the men last. In those same studies, they were finding on average that women were more like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. There's a big disparity there, right? So if you can't last long enough for her to even get like 20 minutes in for a woman is like, oh, when if you live in a place where it's cold and snowy, you got to go to work in the morning, but it's really cold. So you go out and you start your car up and you got to let it warm up for like 20 minutes before you get in it and actually drive it somewhere. Like 20 minutes of sex for most women is nothing more than the warm up period.
Mm-hmm. It's actually what she needs often to get out of her head. Like that's usually what it takes me to finally stop thinking about the painting on the ceiling or my grocery list or whatever, and to really be fully present in my body. And we know, we've been looking at this and, because we're such geeks, I look at the clock and I'm like, I bet it's been 20 minutes. And we're pretty much always around that marker, whether it's 17, 23, 20 minutes. That's what it takes for me to finally get fully into my body. And that's when I can start to really feel and go higher in my energy.
Yes. And for you, it's about 20 minutes to get out of the head.
Yes.
It's about 40 minutes to reach those altered states that are even higher levels.
That's true.
So that means 40 minutes of your penis in her vagina.
Yes.
Making love.
Yes.
How many of you listening to this can do that?
Mm-hmm. Probably not too many. And this is why we have a practice for you. To help you. And this is a practice that we hope is going to be very enjoyable. That's something you most likely have never received as a home play. Your practice, my dear, is going to be masturbation.
But not just any masturbation, what we call mindful masturbation. And we have to make an important distinction, because the normal masturbation that men do actually trains them the wrong way. It's actually hurting you. But mindful masturbation will train you the correct way. And before you even do the mindful masturbation practice, there's something called the arousal scale that you should be aware of before you even attempt this practice.
So what's the arousal scale? Your arousal scale is your 0 to 10. 0 is not aroused. 10 is your orgasm. And it's knowing where do you stand with your arousal. A 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. For a lot of guys, they kind of can feel it up to a 5. If you're a guy who ejaculates too soon, usually 5 to 10 is a blur. You have no idea how you get there. And you have to start to train and to feel in your body. Okay, I'm at 0. This is how it feels in my body. At 1, at 2, at 3, at 5, at 6, at 7. The point of no return is basically just a little bit past 9.
Yeah, we call it about 9.5. So at 9, you're like You're right there on the edge. By 9.5, there's no going back. You are on your way to ejaculation. There's no stopping it.
There could be a 9.75 where there's an orgasm, and then a 10 is your ejaculation. And this is like really in the mastery, which we're not going to dive into, but your ejaculation and orgasm are two different things physiologically in your body, and they can be separated. You can learn how to do that in our course, Sexual Mastery, but by doing the practice here is the beginning of that. So just understand that orgasm and ejaculation can be separated. You can have one without the other. And by starting to learn how things feel in your body, you can get there. Why do we give you a masturbation practice? Because number one, it's the quickest way to release shame. A lot of guys still have problems with that. And especially people in relationship, they're like, oh my gosh, I got to masturbate, or she's not going to like that, or I can't do this if I have a partner. Isn't that like cheating? All of these are stories that get in the way of your sex life. So starting to reclaim that and say, this is a self-practice, a self-care practice, to understand myself better and show up better in the bedroom is going to help to release the shame. Number two, it's going to help you last longer because you are going to now masturbate in a way that can retrain your body to last longer. And we'll give you the exact how to in just a minute. And number three, it teaches you to pay attention to your own body and to your arousal scale. And when you can start to feel the little minute changes in your body, that's how you can start to feel the same things happening in her body.
Exactly. And that's the key, because if you can't even tell where you're at on your own arousal scale, like inside your own body, how in the world are you going to know where she's at? And knowing where she's at is very important.
Mm-hmm. So how does mindful masturbation look like? First of all, you got to be in a space where you're not disturbed for at least 20 minutes. You got to be a comfortable space where it's like, it's not too cold, not too warm, where you can be naked, be by yourself. If you like music, set the music. I mean, make it nice, right? Treat yourself like you would treat somebody you love dearly. So make it beautiful. I know you're not a lady. You don't have to have candles and all of that, but have a nice space.
And don't use porn for this practice.
I'm getting there. I'm
Okay,
getting there.
sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
But thank you, Kevin. So set the environment, have a timer, be undisturbed. Then use nothing but yourself. So no porn, no magazines and stuff. It's about learning about your body. It's going to feel awkward for some of you. It's going to be very uninteresting, not very arousing, very weird. Some of you might rock this, some may not. So I'm just letting you know. Make a decision before you start, whether or not you are going to ejaculate this time. As a rule of thumb, because we're hoping you are going to do that multiple times, don't ejaculate more than once every 3 times. Just to start to retrain yourself. You are retraining yourself that it's okay to be sexually stimulated and high, and to stop when you stop, that the end is not the ejaculation. Stopping is just when you choose to. Okay. And so with that in mind, you have the nice setting, you have no other distraction but connecting with yourself, and you use both hands. Go to your cock, but also maybe use another hand to touch the rest of your body. Move your body. It doesn't have to be something you do laying down or sitting down. You could be standing. You could play with different things here because it's about discovering your body. If it resonates with you, maybe use some music because sometimes it helps you to get in the move, in the groove, and feel things. And start to masturbate and do different moves. Don't always just do like this move, but like use some oil. Coconut oil is a great lube that you can use, or any lubricant that you like, but sometimes adding oil will allow you to put less pressure, go lighter on the touch, and feel more of the nuances.
And start slowly. You don't want to take yourself, remember that arousal scale we kind of just briefly talked about. You don't want to go from 1 to a 9 in like 30 seconds.
You have 20 minutes.
That defeats the purpose here. Remember, the goal of this practice is to retrain your physical body and your mind both. What happens to most men when they discover their penis, right? They're usually pretty young, and they all of a sudden decide, oh, hey, this is kind of cool. This is fun, or, whatever. And they start masturbating, but they're doing it hiding in their bedroom, hiding in the bathroom, hoping that mom doesn't walk in on them. Maybe if they were lucky enough to steal an older sibling's porn magazine, they're afraid of getting caught. So what do? They masturbate really quickly, which physically trains the body to ejaculate quick. And we've actually heard this from many clients that, I've been doing it the same way since I was a kid. It's like, well, no wonder you're having a problem here.
And your body doesn't know the difference. Oh, this is me on my own. I can go this quick and dirty. And then, oh, this is me with my woman. Oh, let's last super long. No, whatever you constantly do is creating a groove. So with this practice, ultimately, this is something you should be doing over at least a 3 weeks period to have a reset. It's not just a once and be done. It's a commitment to yourself, to your connection, to your mastery in the bedroom. Do it once a day, or it doesn't have to be every day. It could if you'd like, but give your body enough time to reset. And you know what? If you come sooner because you ejaculated, don't beat yourself up. Go slower. And, also if you already came, it doesn't mean you have to end. Why not still explore the rest of your body, or see if you can still feel pleasure on your shaft, even if you've ejaculated? It's really about retraining the nerve endings, the pathways of pleasure in your body.
Yeah. And so you start slow, you start to build up, you pay attention to where you're at in the arousal scale. When you start to see that you're getting a little too high and you're getting kind of close to that point of no return, stop, back it down, let the energy settle down a little bit, maybe slow down, and then build yourself back up. And the idea is you want to bring that energy up and then back down, and then up and then
it's like
back
the
down.
Waves of pleasure. You're surfing
down.
Those waves.
Exactly. And at some point, especially in the beginning, you'll get a little too close to that point of no return and you'll go over. That's okay. As Celine said, you can continue on still touching yourself or stimulating, or you go, all right, next time I'm going to try a little harder. You want to go through several cycles of that. If you can only do it once or twice the first time, try to do it 3 cycles the next time and build up to it. It's just like anything else that we do in life. How you do it in practice is how you're going to do it in the real world. So what does all this mean? As you're training your body to last longer and to ride those waves, then when you're actually making love with a woman, here comes the real thing. It's not practice anymore. As her energy is going up and down, you'll be able to surf those waves. It's literally like you're on a surfboard. You're surfing those waves. You're lasting as long as you want. You get to decide whether or not you want to ejaculate. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But if you can get to that 40-minute period we were talking about, and you can take her into those other realms, she is going to look at you like you are God, because most likely she's never had anybody take her there before. And she's going to look at you like you're from another planet, and she's going to absolutely love it, and she's going to absolutely want more. Now, bringing that back around to what we talked about in the beginning, if you really can fuck your woman proper, and she's going to then give all that love and energy back to you as a result of that, you're going to go through life much stronger. You're going to be like, yeah, I'm the dude. That's right. Right? You're going to take that confidence that you experienced in the bedroom, and it's suddenly going to ripple into the rest of your life, right? Maybe you were lucky enough to have that kind of sex in the morning before you went to work. What do you think it's going to be like when you show up to work in the morning, right? You're going to show up there. One, you're going to be happy. You're going to have a big smile on your face. And you're going to be like, all right, I want you to do this. And I need you to do that. And let's come on, go team. That's how you're going to show up and approach life when you get there. Contrast that with you made love in the morning. You lasted 2.5 minutes. She was not happy. She was kind of unsatisfied. Now you're feeling sad about it. Now you go into work and you're like lacking confidence. And, you're like, I got that meeting and I just don't want to deal with that today, right? It's a completely different way of being. This, if you can really master this, it is absolutely going to carry on through the rest of your life and everything that you do. I'm sure you've heard the saying before, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And so if you can master something and really feel like a master of it, you can then take that energy into everything else that you do. I mean, think about if you've ever mastered anything. like I love talking about martial arts because it's another thing that I do and that I love. And if you can master a martial art, all of a sudden everywhere you go, you're like, I am a martial arts master. You're not saying it to people. You're not bragging about it. It's an inner feeling inside where you know that no matter what situation you walk into, you can handle it.
You do
Right?
have 2 black belts, right?
Yeah, it's a second degree black
Second-degree
belt,
black belt.
and then the other discipline doesn't do belts. But I've been doing it for 15 plus years. And anyway, that's not the point. But the point is it's the confidence that you learn there, right? It really ripples out. And it's the same thing in the bedroom. Now, imagine if you can master a martial art, you can be successful in business, and you can master your relationship and sex in the bedroom. You're unstoppable at that point.
And this is really what we want for you. So start with a 20 minutes of mindful masturbation. And by the way, if your goal is to last for 40 minutes with her, try 40 minutes by yourself also. But start with 20, okay? and do it more than once and see where that leads.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Wow,
We
this
hope
is-
this was helpful.
No, it was amazing stuff. That was fantastic. Thank you. I love everything's practical, and it's real. And I love the way you communicate. It's what I call low shelf stuff. People can reach and grab it and take use of it right now. And it sets a better picture and a goal in understanding women. So Celine, thanks you for sharing the women's perspective on this. And
You're
guys, that
welcome.
was really, really fantastic. So thank you for being a part of this. And guys, you just got gold. That was good stuff. So take a look in their notes. There's the link to all the good stuff they said, to learn the 11 erotic zones in the body to help all that kind of stuff. And really, I agree with what they said. You get this down and it's going to empower so many other areas of your life. And all this is worth it. It's worth it to pursue and to enjoy the journey, as you said.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you teaching, and we'll look forward to being part of your lives and your journey, and support you in everything you guys do. You're just an awesome role model. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, now I'm going to keep the recording here. What I'm going to do is I'll cut it there. That'll be the class. Give me a little promo. I just want to be able to say, guys, if you're looking for this, looking for that, come catch us or teaching and register to be part of the Ambassadors of Hope Summit. If you can just give me a little commercial plug.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Let me think for a second.
Take your time.
Because we want to both speak in it. So maybe I'll start and say something like, hey guys, if you want to learn how to bring your A game to the bedroom and beyond, you want to sign up for this masterclass. And then
Ambassador of Hope Summit.
Ambassadors of Hope Summit.
Okay. And then do you know what you're going to add?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Hey guys, if you want to learn how to bring your A game to the bedroom and beyond, then you're going to want to sign up for this masterclass with the Ambassadors for Hope program.
No, you have to
it's not a
repeat that.
program.
It's Ambassador of Hope.
Ambassador of Hope.
Summit.
Ambassadors of Hope Summit. You got
All
it.
right.
Good job.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you want to learn how to bring your A game to the bedroom and beyond, then make sure you sign up for this masterclass at the Ambassadors of Hope Summit.
And not only are you going to get practical tips, you're also going to get the woman's perspective. If you want to hear from a woman, like what do we really want in the bedroom and learn how to deliver, this class is for you. So sign up.
Do you want to do it again?
I think it's good enough. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you guys are the one-take wonders. It's all good.
If you want me to redo it, I will. It doesn't matter.
No, I liked it. It was wonderful. Okay, I'm going to finish creating your Google Drive folder. It'll have this in there and some memes. And we're going to do. I have something really fun and wonderful I'm doing, and this is sort of my creative gift to thank people for also helping us. We're going to be doing a movie poster for the summit. And so in it, the design is, at the top, the Ambassadors of Hope, benefiting Abundance International. Underneath a typical movie, you have sort of your star character and a few people standing behind him, right? And then underneath, we'll have sort of the, what I call the Brady Bunch list, the picture of everybody's in it. So for each speaker, I'm going to create them as the star. So you'll get a movie poster where you guys are the star of the production and, for you to share
Oh, that's awesome.
And what I do is I literally have people, and they're really good at this. They're going to listen to both talks, and they're going to create little quote memes that you can share things you said as part of this takeaways and stuff. I have somebody else who's going to listen to them and create the worksheet handouts and all the rest. So I'm really trying to go and really deliver something really cool and excellent.
Did we send a like a full body picture of us standing for the movie poster? Or
Yeah,
did you need one?
We have this one.
Whatever you like, send me. If you want to send me something for it, send it. That's fine. That'd be great.
I'll have Kevin look. I'll show you what we sent. And if you want something else.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
I don't know what he wants.
All right, thanks again, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll be talking very soon, I promise.
All right. Have a good night, Mark.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.